Hi, this is Mike Cicchini with DennyGeek.com, and we are here getting ready for the 35th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, to celebrate 35 years of the Ninja Turtles, I think it's kind of important that everybody, you guys are carrying the torch for this franchise now. What is your own personal history with the Turtles?
I've loved the Turtles, ever since I was a kid. Many different iterations and many different strange, personal stories that they've traveled with me all the way through my life. But I think one of the moments that always just sticks in my head is, prior to the internet, if you wanted to do any kind of research about career options, you had your career guidance counselors and stuff. And I told them I wanted to do animation, and they looked at me straight in the face and said, "You can't be in animation because it's not a career that exists." So you had to go down to the library and you had to do the research and you had to find animation studios, find their addresses, write them letters, because I wanted to know what to pursue as far as which subjects to study. So I sent out this letter to all these animation studios around the world, Walt Disney, and Warner Brothers and a bunch of other places. One of those was Fred Wolf Studios, and Fred Wolf Studios was the only studio that wrote back. Very nice of them. They wrote this lovely letter telling me, what kind of things I should look into, and they included some original artwork. And it always stuck with me as being such a genuine thing from them, and just so nice because nobody else even got back to me, but Fred Wolf did, and the Ninja Turtles did, and they were there for me back then. So,
like about 1,000 other people in the world, I guess, I walked into I lived right outside of Philadelphia, and in 1984 there weren't many comic book shops, and my mom was gracious enough to drive out of the way about a half hour to the only comic book shop in the county, and I walked in one day in 1984 and there was issue 1 of Ninja Turtles Mirage book, and I bought it for a measly $1.50, I think, and and the rest was history. I mean, I've talked about this a million times, I remember that drive home, just having my face buried in that book, and it was just like a time warp. I was home. I didn't even know how I got home. I was just obsessed with that book. And I didn't have Kevin and Peter sign it, which apparently makes it worth more money. Which is
Really?
because you guys kept, right? You guys kept 2,000 of them for cons that you signed. So there's technically less unsigned.
Well, I was one of those poor souls that beat my head against the wall trying to beat that side-scrolling Nintendo game. That was very, very frustrating. Yeah. But I also, it's funny, we were recounting stories earlier today, and one of which was going to the toy store and seeing the action figures, and it was Donatello specifically, and how the figure itself just stood apart from all the other figures on the shelves. It had a very unique, design aesthetic. It was green. It was very well sculpted, and the articulate toes and the little fingernails and stuff. But the best part was the removable weapons for me. So, I just was into the toys, I guess, first.
Just even hearing this is very surreal to me in many, many ways because Peter and I grew up. It's similarly to for example, we both grew up as huge fans of Jack Kirby. He was the man. That was the thing I remember announcing to my parents that I'm going to be Jack Kirby when I grow up, and this mortified look on their face, like, oh my goodness, we're going to have one of those kids that never moves out of the basement. We have one of those kids. But it was the passion and the things I got out of the Kirby style of storytelling and the dynamic way that he presented his characters and stuff. And Peter and I bonded over that immediately. So when I hear, even fast forward now that having that passion and realizing that opportunity in 1985 when we could support ourselves by drawing comic books for a living, still was the greatest moment in my life. That was when the dream came true for both Peter and I. We were drawing comics for a living, and I've done that ever since. And so when I hear these wonderful stories of like Ant and Andy and Ciro and their inspirations, I can't imagine myself in that headspace that I've inspired somebody, because I put that to the giants I stand on the shoulders of, so I can't imagine. I'm like a big geek sitting on this couch like everybody else going like, we're in this world because we love it. We all like the same things, and if we weren't talking to you, we'd be talking about goofy, geeky stuff we love so much, and that gets us out of bed and wants us to draw and create and become part of this world we dearly love. So it's great. This is just, I can't believe I've been doing this for 35 years.